Hello and welcome to Investors Hangout, your weekly guide to making smarter financial decisions. This series is brought to you by Aditya Birla Sun Life Mutual Fund and Value Research. In today's discussion, we're tackling a question that many investors face. Can there be a portfolio that can withstand the crazy ups and the steep declines? So we're joined by Dhirendra Kumar, the voice of Value Research. Welcome, Dhirendra.
Thank you.
We know that markets are volatile, they are unpredictable, and that's the nature of the markets, as you say. But can there be a portfolio that can thrive both in bull runs and bear crashes?
Yes, there can be a portfolio, but that is not, I'm not prescribing that there is this portfolio. That portfolio will be different for you. That portfolio will be different for me. If you build a portfolio, if you construct a portfolio which is very much in line with your goals, which is very much in line with your time frame, which is very much in line with your experiences, and our attitude to the first decline will be very different. Likewise, our attitude to the first surge will be very different. The worst part of bull run or bull markets is the rise of inexperienced people educating other inexperienced people. Everything works in a bull market and more so around the peak of it. Investing becomes easy. It just feels like, you have to board the bus. You are missing out an opportunity. And we have seen the reverse of it. You will have a doomsday guy who is saying that, the markets will crumble, the world is bad, and, everything is going to end, and, everything is overpriced. And suddenly in the bear market, that fellow who is a loser, who has missed opportunity, he will turn out to be true. Read up one of my columns whereby, why the pessimist looks smarter. I've just listed the rationale for it. And when it happens, he feels vindicated. That, okay, I said so and it has happened. But so what? Companies will get alive again. People will get working again. We have seen the world coming to a halt in the worst at the pessimistic ebb in COVID. And 3 months later, the market went up. And 8 months later, the world just shook up and got going.
Right.
And we are back to the old ways, and everything got started. There were businesses which came to a standstill. There were businesses which were crumbling, which was crawling, and there were businesses which were thriving. That actually brings in the concept of, why diversify.
Yeah.
Everything does not get affected in the same manner. But I would say that if you have thought through your portfolio, because in the bull phase, if you are thoughtless, it's the most profitable thing. Just that one day it will come and hit you to your end. Likewise, if you become ultra conservative, to benefit from bull run and bear run, or rising phase of the market and falling phase of the market, it is very important not to go on other extreme.
Right. So you're saying balance is the key.
But balance in a very calibrated way. I would like somebody to be fully into equity if he still has 20 years to go. But 3 years to retirement, have 25% not into equity. So this question will change for everybody. Right. Customized balance for yourself.
Okay. So let's break it down one by one. What expert strategies do you think can help investors survive from market crashes?
My first goal at every stage is that help a newcomer start believing the market. And the problem is this. I want everybody who is starting in the market to start with an aggressive hybrid fund. It is 25% fixed income, 75% equity. It will not crumble when the market crumbles, and people have no problem going up. People have a big problem coming down. The way it comes down is something very unnerving. It drives you out of the market forever. So it is very important for a newcomer to develop a belief in this. And that is why I want everybody to start with aggressive hybrid funds, so that at the outset, when you are getting started, you don't get a massive blow to be driven out of the market. The problem is that the exciting part of the market is that when you do that, it's not exciting enough. When you invest in a small cap fund, it is exciting. When you invest in a racing sector fund or a thematic fund, it is exciting. It actually is doing well. That is why something is getting launched. You have to choose. You want long-term financial success or you want excitement. If it is excitement, then, try your means. Still, I would say that, you can moderate your risk by doing your SIP. Next phase is somebody who has already built something meaningfully. You were lucky, you started post-COVID, and in the last 4 years, you have been very lucky that your investments have done well and you have invested more. And now you are sitting on money which is, 3 times your capital. You gradually invested 5, 7, 10 lakh rupees and it has become 20 lakh rupees. If that is the case, then bring in that shock absorber now. If you are lucky to ride the market upside, then bring in 10%, 20%, 25% into fixed income. So that if the doomsday when it comes, you will have money to invest. You'll feel little happy about it. You'll also be comforted that okay, all your money is not crumbling the way it is. So it will reduce the fall. So it's very basic arithmetic. And then always every year revisit. When you start investing, you think that okay, you are investing for next 10 years. When you will retire. Next year, your investments are for 9 years. And at some stage, your investments will be for 3 years. Do you need to moderate that risk? Investing for 10 years is not the same as investing for 3 years. And that is something which you should revisit yourself.
Okay. How can one benefit from bull runs while staying secure?
If you have fixed these rules that you will be 25%, 20%, 30% into fixed income, every bull run will keep, help you realize some gains out of it and keep, if you keep maintaining 30%, rebalancing will help you. And that is when you will also feel happy when the market crumbles. That, okay, now I can put money and everybody else is fully invested. So not being overly greedy and not being overly fearful and having the courage to implement this plan at the worst of times. It is very difficult to invest in equity when it is crumbling.
Right.
And likewise, it is very difficult to resist not investing in equity when it is going up so rapidly. Having this discipline and having this belief in this principle will be very helpful. It will help you get wealthy faster.
So it's all about discipline. But do you think there's ever a time when an investor should completely shift their portfolio based on market shifts?
I would say yes, but humanly it is not possible to do it. That is why I keep saying that, calibrate it. At first, keep it at least 50% equity, 50% debt. Even if it's a very long-term portfolio and you are getting very scared of the market that it is very rich. Because markets sometimes do go up. And they do go up dramatically. It looks very stupid to be investing at that time. But you don't know, but that is the time when the market is still going up. And it's very difficult not to be investing. It is very difficult to walk away, because if you walk away from the market, take all your money from it, it will go up by another 15% and you will have deep regret in the short run. Likewise, we have seen that, there was an occasion in October 2008 when, the market came down from 20,000 points on the Sensex to 8,500. And we had these great companies which had crumbled like nothing, as if, they don't exist. It is just a piece of paper. And many companies started looking like, the total market cap of many of these companies and some blue chip companies were lower than the cash that they had on their books. So if I had the opportunity of buying that company completely and auction it, and I'm able to sell all the stocks in the market, I will still end up with thousands of crore which was lying in the balance sheet. So there are occasions when market becomes extremely lopsided, and to be able to be out of it and to be in it might be, but it is for, if it is for extremely foresightful people. You can do it for a specific company. It is very difficult to do it for your portfolio. It is nearly impossible to do it for your long-term equity portfolio. So I would say that try and dabble it with allocation. If you have thought of keeping it 50-50, maybe make it 75-25. But don't drift it, because markets can remain irrational for a long time.
That brings us to the idea of risk tolerance. So how can one really gauge what is your level of tolerance for risk, and how to adjust portfolios accordingly?
One is that, you can't do it very objectively. The day your investment goes down in value to an extent that you lose your flip, that you realize that what your risk tolerance is. Not only that, it's why it is even more difficult is that your risk tolerance changes not just with money. It changes with time.
With experience.
With experience, your risk tolerance is changing. It's almost like the expertise that you derive while driving. If you're getting started and you have put that big L mark on your windshield and, you're driving. And First, you have a person who is sitting alongside giving instructions, telling put on the brakes, don't accelerate, and this and that. And then once you learn it, and once you have drove 5,000 kilometers, then everything happens seamlessly. You don't even notice when you're applying the accelerator or changing gears, or changing track or changing lane. Most of the things start happening intuitively. Likewise for investing. First time the market goes down by 10%, you get upset. And after you have seen big declines and you have survived and thrived, or seen your portfolio recovering, you don't care. But you must have those variables in place. You must have time ahead of you. So it all depends. Figure out your risk tolerance. Look at the investment value and look at the worst case scenario. What if it becomes half of it? What will happen? If you have the time, you might have the risk tolerance too.
But in such phases, bull markets or crashes, is there an asset class, commodities or real estate that can help you hedge the risk?
You can just pretend that you have done some hedging. But when you have this situation, extreme situation, you can build all the shock absorbers with your mind by setting reasonable expectation and learning a little bit that what is going on. Second is that, if you are able to configure yourself with some assets which will not, having a home. So you'll at least have, you'll be saved of spending on rent. Likewise, having a flexible lifestyle cost that you'll be comfortable spending this much money, but if you have a little less, you'll still manage well, or you'll happily manage well. That is one, that is another. Third is that, if you are working on an asset allocation, and if you have the time, and if you're very sure about your time frame, because 5 years and more, you can be assured that you'll be able to tide over something little better. But 6 months, you can be assured that you'll be met with a calamity. So I think that is all there to it.
Now the final question: with such market uncertainty, how can investors stay focused on their goals, long-term goals, and still, avoid making knee-jerk decisions?
It only requires time. And it's very difficult not to react because it's real money. The value that you see is the value that you can realize. And if you see the value has gone down, you think that, okay, the realizability has gone and now it is permanent. So it's very difficult to do. It only requires time. So for this, I would like to give a single point plan, and it always works. Your first 3 years, don't look at the investment value, because if you watch your investment and every evening the market goes down, it is very difficult to keep your sanity. You will go crazy. And not only that, once that amount becomes larger, we start connecting it with real life things. For example, your portfolio becomes 35 lakh rupees. And that may be a very meaningful sum of money. And it could be worthwhile for somebody saving for 10, 12 years. And it's not fun money. It is meant for your retirement. It's a crucial goal. It has to grow even further. And then what happens is, you have all done it with 40,000 rupees a month contribution. You have done it over the last 10, 12 years. And then this money, one day it goes down by a lakh of rupees. Another day it goes down by another 50,000 rupees. And then you say that, oh, this is my fourth month of contribution. And the moment you start making those connections, it becomes extremely difficult. You will not need this money for next 10 years. So my suggestion will be that buy some time. First 3 years, don't look at the investment value. Look at it every 3 months. And you just might be pleased with it. Some of the daily noises will be cancelled out. And after that, look at it every year. And when you look at it every year, you'll be even more pleased. And so for first 2-3 years, if you do this, then you realize that magic happens, don't bother.
Right. So it all boils down to building a resilient, well-diversified portfolio and sticking with it for a long haul.
Get strong mentally. Get used to it.
Right. Now moving on to the viewer's question. Akshita Bhattacharji says, how frequently can I change scheme preference in NPS? I'm a central government employee. Today, I mistakenly changed my scheme preference to active from the default mode tier 1. However, I later realized that it doesn't include equity investment for government employees. Rather, 100% gets invested in government bonds. So I want to change it as soon as possible to auto mode, moderate LC50, that is 50% exposure to equities.
All central government employees are permitted to make changes in their allocation or their funds twice in a year, twice in a financial year, which is April to next year March. So you can change it once again. And you can change it immediately if you want to. Choose your LC option if you can actually use your PRAN number, access your account at NSDL. Now I think it's called Protean, and choose that option, choose that plan LC50, where the maximum 50% equity allocation in the active plan, and that is it. So next month itself, investments will be redeemed, and there is no tax implication. What happens within the NPS account, there is no tax implication. The money moves from a government bond to equity to fixed income or to corporate bond, doesn't matter. So this change can happen immediately.
Right. Well, that's all we have for you in today's episode. Keep watching this space for more information. If you like the show, do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care. Bye for now.